All right, let's dive into something that sounds like it's straight out of science fiction. We're talking about a wild new theory that could completely change our picture of the very first stars to ever exist.
So think about this for a second. We've always been taught that the first stars were these brilliant blazing balls of hydrogen, right? The first true lights in an endless dark. But what if that whole picture is just wrong?
You see, like any great detective story, this one starts with a clue that makes no sense. The James Webb Space Telescope, our incredible eye on the ancient universe, has been looking back to the very dawn of time, and it's seen things that, based on everything we know, just shouldn't be there.
So let's break down the central mystery here. We're talking about objects that simply have no business existing. Here's the deal. Our standard model of the universe says that the first galaxies should have started out small, kind of dim. They needed hundreds of millions of years to slowly pull themselves together. But that's not what Webb is seeing, not at all. It's finding these behemoths, objects that are already massive and blindingly bright way too soon after the Big Bang.
Let's really dig into the evidence that's causing all this commotion.
This is the one question that has astronomers scratching their heads. It just doesn't compute. There shouldn't have been enough time for the universe to build something so huge. It's kind of like planting a tiny seed and coming back a week later to find a giant, fully grown oak tree. It just breaks all the rules we thought we knew.
And you can see the problem laid out right here. On one side, you have our theory: small, dim, slow. On the other, you have what Webb is actually seeing: massive, super bright, and way too grown up for their age. The gap between what we expected and what we found isn't small. It's enormous.
And look, this isn't just some vague theoretical problem. Scientists have zeroed in on specific suspects. We're talking about real objects like JADES GS Z14-0, things that have been observed and cataloged. These are the cosmic fingerprints that demand a new explanation.
So, if these things aren't baby galaxies, what in the world are they? Well, this leads us to a new and pretty radical idea. A completely new kind of object powered by the most mysterious stuff in the entire universe. I want you to meet the dark star. Now, the theory goes that these first stars weren't powered by nuclear fusion like our sun. Nope, they were powered by dark matter itself. This isn't just a different flavor of star, it's a completely different kind of beast altogether.
So how does that even work? Well, instead of smashing atoms together, a dark star's engine is fueled by dark matter particles colliding with each other and just annihilating. Poof! They convert their mass straight into a colossal amount of energy, heating this giant object from the inside out.
And this shows you just how bizarre these things would be. A normal star is a hot, dense, tiny point of light. A dark star is the opposite. It's this huge, cool, incredibly diffuse, puffy giant, like a vast, glowing fog, instead of a sharp, brilliant fire.
Okay, so we have this strange, puffy, dark matter-fueled star. How does that solve the mystery of the impossible galaxies? Well, it turns out these things might just be the ultimate cosmic imposters.
First, let's just try to wrap our heads around the scale here. The models are suggesting that these things, these supermassive dark stars, could shine up to 10 billion times brighter than our sun. That's just an absolutely insane amount of light. And here's the knockout punch. What astronomers thought was a whole galaxy, a collection of billions of individual stars, might not be a galaxy at all. It could just be the light coming from one of these single monster objects.
And boom, there's your answer. The whole paradox just vanishes. These aren't galaxies that formed impossibly fast. They're supermassive dark stars that are so mind-bogglingly huge and bright that they've been faking us out, masquerading as entire galaxies.
So, if this theory turns out to be right, the implications are, frankly, profound. We're not just talking about finding a new type of star. We're talking about completely changing how we understand the birth of the cosmos. Seriously, think about it. The entire story of how the first light appeared, how the first big structures formed, the seeds of every galaxy that would ever exist, that whole first chapter of the universe's biography might have to be torn out and written all over again. It's really a humbling moment in science, isn't it? It's a reminder that the universe is probably way stranger and more wonderful than we can even imagine. And it leaves you with this final chilling thought. If the very first lights in the universe were actually dark, what else are we completely wrong about?